Welcome to another episode of Slam Fire. We're back here at, what is this, November 13th, about a week away from, a little bit less than a week. No, a little bit more than a week, right, from Thanksgiving. So let's get started really quick. Today, Texas Ocelot will be flying solo today. Had some issues with scheduling and everything like that, but that's okay. These things happen. But we will see if our slanted scholar joins us later on today. Let me just check. Maybe he jumped on Discord. And my Discord keeps disconnecting. Well, not disconnecting, but it keeps crashing for some reason. So hopefully everything's working out okay. But yeah, not on. It hasn't been on Discord, so we should be all right. But we'll leave that open just in case he joins us later. So get some input from the slanted scholar. So we are going to start off like we normally do. This is Slam Fire. This is the name of our podcast. Little startup we began back in October. So brand new, just started. We haven't been around a while. We don't have any crazy views or anything like that. We don't really have much subscribe. I don't think we really have any subscribers. I think we have one subscriber on BitChute. That's about it. But that's okay. We're kind of just doing this just for the fun of it, just to talk about things that we think about, things that are happening in our everyday lives, whether it comes to politics or just everyday life. And we have different video hosting sites that we post our videos on. We post, of course, on YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble. So all those are there for you to choose from. And right there at the bottom, you guys can see our slamfiremedia.com website. So just so that you guys can see what that looks like. It's very, very simple, just slamfiremedia.com. It's nothing like .org, .net, whatever, like all this crazy stuff. Like, it's just slamfiremedia.com. Here we have all our episodes. So today right now we are recording episode 5. So after we're done recording, I'll post episode 5 right below episode 4. But yeah, you have all the choices right here, whatever video hosting site you prefer, whether it's YouTube, Rumble, or BitChute. We got you covered. Um, I was talking to my buddy, and we were thinking, it's good just to have those options. So if you guys have any recommendations or any ideas, we can certainly add to these sites. We just don't have to do these three. There's Odyssey, and then there's what's that other one? I forgot, but there's several other different sites to host videos and stuff like that. And it's good to have options. It doesn't hurt. And of course, shameless plug, we got our Patreon there if you guys want to support us. That's cool too. But like I said, we're really just doing this we're doing this because we really enjoy it. We like talking about different things that are bothering us. It's kind of therapeutic too, because I know, speaking for myself, I'm not going to speak for my buddy, but speaking for myself, I don't have too many friends. I don't have too many people that are willing to talk about the certain things that bother me, the certain things that are going on in the world, and just actually sit down and have a decent conversation about what they think, what they feel, and we kind of go back and have a civilized. It doesn't even have to be civilized, but just a simple conversation where we can talk about something that we agree with, something we don't agree with, and then have differences of opinions and still be okay with it, because that's what kind of bothers me about it, and I'm sure my buddy can attest to the same thing that it bothers him about. You can't even have a discussion anymore unless you are in agreement of every single thing that you're talking about. Like, what happened to people just having simple discourse and just talking about things that they think, and if they think different, they think different. If they think the same, they think the same. Like, who cares? Let's talk about it. It doesn't really make much sense anymore, but that's pretty much the main reason why we started this up. So yeah, guys, Slamfire Media, slamfiremedia.com. Check that out. We have all our episodes there. So let's get into it. What have we been talking about? Last week we talked about, we kind of jumped into it. I mean, it kind of transitioned into it, but the idea around it was everyone kind of has the sense that we're heading towards a civil war. I personally think, I don't know what you guys think, but I personally think that we're already in some type of civil war, and I think it's maybe like a cold civil war. I believe Timcast has mentioned that before. He's talked about that. There's some other podcasters that I listen to every now and then. I'm gonna pull that up, right, because I saw an article that they posted up and I just totally forgot about it. So I'll pull that up right now so we can check that out. Kind of disturbing stuff. Kind of adds to kind of adds to what we're talking about. But like I said, um, what is the Civil War going to kind of look like if there is going to be a Civil War? If the Civil War would turn hot, and you have people on the streets, you have things going down, that forces people out of their normal routine, out of their normal daily habits, then then what's that going to look like? I can't find this video. So let me show you guys what I'm looking at, just so that we're on the same page. I'm actually on timcast.com. Very cool stuff here. Timcast, I have like a love-hate relationship with Timcast. He says a lot of things that I agree with, but then he has like a certain way of talking, a certain way of saying things that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and it's just one of those things that it's not a good or a bad thing. It's just, I don't know. But he put they it's not just him doing all of this stuff. They put out a lot of good info on here. So shameless plug to Timcast. And we usually do plugs for, like, we did one for Donut Operator last time, and Donut Operator's not going to watch any of this, but we'll be putting some more plugs for other people who put out some pretty good content. But he posts a lot of stuff on different places as well. But I mostly watch his videos on YouTube, and they have videos on here. You can go to read, and they have tons of articles. They update their articles, you know, weekly. Like, I mean, I want to say even daily. They post up a lot of articles all the time. A lot of good stuff to look into, to check out. Sorry about these ads, but a lot of good things to check out. A lot of things that involved uh, different topics. You have like cultural stuff, you have politics, you have health, you have a lot of good variety here. So I highly recommend going to Timcast to check that out. But like I said, talking about the Civil War and things like that, or a Civil War, potential for a Civil War. But I don't know. I personally believe that we are in some type of Civil War going on right now, and it's happening through like big media, big tech, media, and uh, kind of like on the internet, Twitter, and things like that, social websites, where people are gaslighting here and gaslighting there, and people are creating some sort of, I don't know, like a sense of uncertainty, a sense of uneasiness, a sense of distraction, like just trying to get you distracted from your daily routine, so that you're forced to go out and do something to stop those distractions. I don't know, the way that I'm thinking about it doesn't really translate well into words, but I do feel, with everything that's going on, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree with me, that we are in some type of civil war right now. Whether that civil war turns hot, I don't know. That remains to be seen. And if you guys watched our last episode, we kind of touched up on it a little bit with the Kyle Rittenhouse trial that's going on right now. Uh, and we kind of gave some insight on that, used some footage and things like that. Not really going to go too much into that today. I don't really like playing too much video on here. I don't want us to get I don't want to give anybody a reason to flag us for using video that doesn't belong to us and things like that. So I just kind of avoid it as much as possible. But we saw a little bit, just small clips of, and you can go anywhere on YouTube and just type Kyle Rittenhouse, and you'll get tons of videos of that night, and actual footage of what actually happened, so you can kind of review it and kind of come up with your own ideas, your own thoughts. But the kind of the conclusion that we kind of came to is that, or that I came to, I don't want to speak for my buddy, but I feel like if there was a civil war, if it was to turn hot, I think that a lot of people would be playing defense. There would be a lot of people in the urban areas, a lot of people in the downtown, cities, big cities, that would be kind of doing what they're doing right now. You know how you have like a lot of protesters and rioters and all these people going into major cities and just kind of destroying things, just kind of setting fires and creating havoc. I mean, you even had that Chaz Chop deal a while back, and just kind of people migrating to these big urban, big city places, and just kind of, doing whatever they want. And I think that kind of gives us a little bit of I don't want to say foreshadowing, but kind of gives us an idea of, if society were to break down, I think that's what it would kind of start off to look like. Because you have people that are kind of clinging on to the things that they've worked for, their homes, their apartments, their property, wherever that may be, and they're going to kind of stay home and protect themselves any way they can, kind of create a fort in the sense where it's going to be you stay over there and we stay over here. So I feel that there's going to be a lot of people playing defense at first. Maybe like down the road it'll kind of turn into like, okay, now we need to mobilize, we need to move here, move there, do this or do that, to kind of push the offensive or kind of push the front or something like that. I don't know. I don't think that, I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen. I'm just kind of thinking of possibilities, and that'll kind of create a little bit more. That's creates a potential for it to kind of escalate a little bit more, where the government gets involved, and that turns in that has the possibility to turn into a whole different scenario, and it's kind of scary if you think about it. But just 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 the idea of it is kind of interesting. What would it actually look like? Because if we go back to our first Civil War, it it, it was, how they called it, like brother against brother. You had neighbors fighting against neighbors, and militias going up against uh, trained trained military, and government military and things like that. And now I don't feel like it would be like a brother against brother. It's almost like a cult now. You have one people on one side who are willing to have a conversation, and then you have another group of people on the other side who, it's, you either do it my way or our way, or you don't do it at all, and if you don't give us what we want, then we're going to burn down the whole system, and there's no discussion about it. So I don't really feel it's the same parameters, like we were talking about with our first Civil War, where it was, brother against brother. I don't really feel we have that unitedness. We don't have that quote unquote brotherhood that we used to as a country today, because we've just been so divided. We've allowed media and technology and big tech to just kind of control us and divide us, create enemies of ourselves. So I don't know. I think it would be very, very different because of those reasons. It's just interesting to think about. So here on Timcast, where is it? Right here. Police start prepping for BLM riots. Even leftists say Rittenhouse will be acquitted, not guilty. So the police, no matter what happens, the police are going to be are going to prep no matter what. But there was actually another article that they put. No, it wasn't an article. I believe it was a video. It might not be on here. Police prep for mass riots. They actually started deploying the National Guard, I believe, and it's not here. He usually has all his videos on here, but I don't see it right now. See, this one is from today. Maybe it's from an earlier time, unless I'm missing it here. So BLM issues direct threat to riot and kill if NYPD try to bring back police unit. Okay, that's NYPD. Yeah, I had saw it. It was on YouTube though. I didn't see it on the website. I have like a feed on YouTube, and it usually gives me stuff from Tim Pool, like kind of regularly, because I watch him fairly consistently. But yes, the U.S. National Guard has actually been deployed to kind of help prepare for any possible riots and anything that's any sort of shenanigans that are likely to come out if Rittenhouse gets acquitted, or if he gets found not guilty, whatever actually happens. The trial is still going on. I believe they're already talking about jury instructions and things like that. I believe the prosecution has rested. I want to say the prosecution is done presenting their case, and the defense as well, from what I remember. But everyone's kind of on the same page. I've been watching it as much as I can live, and one that I've been watching it live with is, if you guys haven't checked out, Ricada Law. He's got a lot of subscribers, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard of him. But Ricada Law, I want to say he's from He's not from Wisconsin. I want to say he's from Michigan. Oh man, I forgot where he's from. He always used to say like, oh, he's a small law firm out of Minnesota, maybe. I think he might be in Minnesota. I forgot. I want to say it's in Minnesota, but he's a lawyer in Minnesota, I want to say, and it's interesting. Like he gives good insight. They've been streaming it live. See if I can find one of these right here. Like yeah, these are like all of his live streams. Like you can see like 8 hours, 2 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 3 hours, and he's just been streaming the uh, the trial itself from whichever platform is streaming it, and it's really really cool because he's an actual lawyer, and he'll be doing his podcast deal, and he'll bring on other lawyers, and they all have different experiences. They all have different types of background when it comes to law and things like that. So they give all their little they give you a little bit of insight that you wouldn't even think about when something is happening in the court. And because there'll be times where I'll be watching the live feed of the trial itself, and something will happen. Someone will say something, and it's just kind of like dead silence for a little bit, and I'm just sitting there thinking, what the hell's going on? What is happening? Is this normal? What I don't understand what's going on. But these guys, when you watch it with like Ricada Law, when any of these other people that are live streaming it, they give you that little insight, like, oh, like what happened? Like, oh, they did a motion. They're talking about a motion for this or a motion for that, and oh, the objection said this, but the judge is saying this, and this is in reference to this, and like they kind of break it down and explain it to you, so you're not lost, and it makes it much more easier to follow when you actually know what's going on versus just sitting there and just like waiting for it to be spoon fed to you. But it's the way the trials work. There's a lot of procedures and there's a lot of things that need to be done a certain way. Excuse me. Oh man, I don't know if you guys can hear it in my voice. I had like a sinus infection or something. When was it? Last week, not this past week, but the week before, and I'm still kind of getting over it. I still have like a lot of just junk in my face, just like phlegm and boogers and just nasty stuff. And every time I'll get like a sudden cough that I can't control it. So I don't want to cough into y'all's ears, get y'all sick over the internet. But yeah, it's very very interesting to watch it with these people because they kind of guide you through it. Uh, so it's kind of hard to watch these, sitting down for 9 hours straight. And this guy, this Ricada guy, like he's crazy. Like there was one that I was watching. It must have been like one of these 8 hour, 9 hour ones. It might have been this one. This dude was like up at 8, 9 in the morning, and he's already drinking. Like 8, 9 in the morning and drinking pretty much all day. And it's kind of funny when you're watching it. I was able to kind of watch. I had a long work week where I would have to wake up at around 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, and then my work lasted until like I didn't get home till like maybe 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So I had a lot of time to just sit down and like listen to it in the background. I had like one earplug plugged in, and this guy was just like going at it for 8 hours straight, just going at it, just having people come on and talk about what's happening in the trial, and people popping off and people just going in and out, like almost like it was like a little bar or something like that. And this guy was literally sitting there the entire time. He got up like every now and then to take a break or whatever, but he was literally just sitting there and drinking all day. And he's not drinking like beer or anything like that. He's drinking like liquor, like alcohol. Like he's drinking. I think he likes a lot of bourbon. Just drinking a whole bottle of bourbon, just drinking all day. It's insane. It's kind of funny, but you see that transition, like how he starts off in the morning, kind of energetic, kind of optimistic, and everything is kind of going good. But as it gets later on in the show, in the podcast or whatever he's doing in his live stream, he starts getting a little bit more like agitated and a little bit more bothered by some of the rulings that the judge is doing, or like when the defense allows a certain piece of evidence to go through where the prosecution says something or asks a ridiculous question, and they start yelling like object to that question, object to that, like, oh my god, so like he starts getting more and more agitated. And it's kind of funny because it's obviously because he's like just like shit faced completely, like to the max, like just completely on like a huge bender, and he's just getting it's just like an angry drunken rage or something. It's kind of funny seeing that transition though. But like I said, it's a lot of good info, a lot of good content that they're throwing out. I know it's kind of hard to watch because it's hours and hours long, but very very interesting stuff. So if you guys haven't been paying attention to what's been going on, I've been kind of hyper focused. I mean, maybe not hyper focused, but I have been focused on this Kyle Rittenhouse thing a little bit more than I think I should be, or maybe that I think that other people think that I should be. But I feel like this is very, very important because the the outcome of this, I think, is going to set precedent for everyone in the country. And this is kind of one of those that I feel is one of those touchy subjects where it's like you're telling us how we can and can't defend ourselves. Like depending on how depending on how this trial comes out is going to affect our, yeah, I mean, there's really no other way to say it. I'm kind of like working it in my mind if there's another easier way to say it, but yeah, there's really no other way to say it. This is going to this has the potential to affect the way that we're allowed to defend ourselves. If someone is clearly, if someone has threatened you and they are literally in the act of attacking you and running you down and trying to do something, try to enact some sort of violence on you, are you going to be able to legally defend yourself? Like, will the courts have your back? And it's almost like there's like a shift. There's a shift where law and the judicial system is kind of giving giving too much leeway to criminals, like people who are criminals, people who have history of violent acts, people who have a history of being a criminal, just a career, a lifelong criminal. They're given more rights, they're given more protection than everyday normal law-abiding citizens. And I feel that this trial is kind of highlighting that to me anyway. It might not be to anybody else, but that's what's highlighted to me, that this is kind of another little stone in the pond that's giving access to these to this wave of tolerating criminals, like tolerating criminal acts. If someone's attacking you, let them attack you. You have no right to protect yourself. That's what I'm feeling like this is what this trial is jeopardizing. The idea that you cannot protect yourself even when your life is in danger, even when you feel your life is in danger. And when something like this, when this case is just so clear cut and obvious, the fact that look at this, like, where was it? 5 hours, 7, 8 hours, 9 hours, almost 10-hour long, days of covering this trial daily. And it's just like, how can this be so important? Like, how can this be, how not so important, but how can someone just create evidence, just create something out of nothing and expect people to see it? Like, oh, look at do you see this little blob right here? This blob is this. It's like, it's a blob. You telling me that it's something else doesn't change what it looks like to everybody else. That's what you think it is, but is that actually what it is, or is that just something that you're telling me it is? You know what I mean? Like, how, like, to me, it's almost like the prosecution is actively trying to to place that stone, like that analogy that I used, like, place that stone on in the pond so that it just creates that much more accessibility for criminals to get away with being criminals, and to make it more difficult for law-abiding citizens to protect themselves, to go about their daily lives without having to worry, if someone attacks me or if someone puts me in danger, am I going to be able to legally defend myself from there, like from that situation? And this prosecution, like, it's the state prosecution, like, these are the people that work for the state. Like, they are. It's almost like they're actively making law-abiding citizens the criminals, and it's scary to me. To me, that's scary. That's why I feel like I've spent a lot of time focusing on this trial, because the implications that it has is scary to me. That you cannot defend yourself. You have to let everybody take advantage. Like if someone wants to take advantage of you, whether they're going to rob you, whether they're going to attack you, beat you up, or whatever they're going to do, you have to let them do it. You have to let them do it. You have no right to defend yourself. You have no right to protect yourself, or you are going to face the consequences of the legal system or whatever. It's like, I'm a law-abiding citizen. We pay our taxes. We follow the rules. We make sure we have all the proper permits and paperwork that we need in order to be, following the law. But then they turn around and tell you that you did wrong. It's amazing. I don't think amazing is the right word. To me, it's kind of scary, very very scary. So if you guys haven't been able to, so this is kind of like like I'm trying to like get people more aware of this. I know a lot of people don't watch this, but this is what's kind of been bothering me a little bit. One of these things to talk about, and since I'm by myself, it's a little bit easier. Since Rekieta Law, like they cover it extensively, extensive coverage, just talking about whatever's happening live, and they do a good job. But like I said, it's kind of hard to watch. But there's another person that I like to watch as well. His name's Robert Gruler, Esquire. He's a lawyer as well, and he has a YouTube channel, and one of the channels that he has is a clips channel, and he actually goes through that particular day. So does he have it there? Yes, if you can kind of see it right there. Yeah, you guys should be able to see it. It says, Aunt Hubbard, Rosenbaum's fiance, car source employees testify in Rittenhouse trial day 5. So he has like all the days broken down, and they're not like crazy long. Don't get me wrong, they are a little bit long. But I don't know if he does these live. I think he might do these live. And usually at the end, it's usually like maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, where he's doing like shout outs to super chats and stuff like that. So it's actually not like this one says like it's an hour and 10 minutes long, but it's really not that long. It's maybe like 45 minutes long. And then the rest of the video is like the super chats and all that stuff, like reading comments and things like that. So it's really not that bad. And what's great about this too is he kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. Like at first, he tells you, okay, so this person is this, that, and this, and the prosecution is trying to get this idea. Like he's trying to paint this story, and this is the what am I thinking of? This is like the oh my goodness, this is the argument that he's trying to make. This is the argument, and he breaks it down for you, and then he plays the video. Says, "Let's listen to it." And then he plays the video, and you can hear it, and it makes it easier for you to understand and follow along. And if there's weird stuff that happens, like if there's some objection, and then the judge says something about something, he clarifies it and lets you know what that actually means. As a whole and everything like that. So it makes it much more easier to follow. And what's great is that you don't have all that downtime, because there's a lot of downtime. And oh my goodness, like this prosecution played like so many videos of the same thing, like expecting the video to change. It's unbelievable how ridiculous it's been. But what's great about this guy, this Robert Gruler. I think the channel is called Watching the Watchers, and this is one of the channels from there. So very very good stuff. So I'm pretty sure if you type in on the search bar Watching the Watchers, you'll get you'll find his channel right here. Just find the one that says clips, so that you're not watching like long videos and things like that. But it's really really good that they're not very long, so it condenses it to the point where it's manageable, and you can kind of actually follow along and hear it for yourself and get that insight. And what I've noticed too is that this Robert Gruler, maybe that's why he doesn't have too many subscribers, he's not very biased at all. Like he's very objective, and if someone says something that's just ridiculous and you just completely hate it, completely disagree with it, he really doesn't add too much comment to it. He kind of just leaves it, says like, this is what he said and maybe this is why he said it, because this is an argument that he's trying to make. Maybe he's going this route, maybe he's going that route. And if the prosecution or someone does something ridiculous, he'll kind of point like, yeah, that's kind of strange that he didn't do this or didn't do that. This is something that maybe I would have done, but he doesn't leave. He leaves it. He leaves the interpretation of how that should make you feel up to you. He doesn't really throw his what he thinks about it too much. So it's very good. It's very good content for you to check out if you haven't been following along. Again, it is a lot of stuff because this trial has been going on for a good while, so it would actually start right here. This is like the opening arguments and everything like that. And then you have your first witnesses. The prosecution is laying out the case. And this is like all the prosecution. I don't think the defense comes in until right here and testifies in, yeah, I haven't seen this one. I want to say no one can pronounce this guy's damn name, but this guy, I want to say he's a witness for the prosecution. Kyle Rittenhouse actually testifies under the defense, and it's pretty crazy. So the prosecution rested here, and then now it's the defense. But compare. Like if you compare, this is where the prosecution started on this video. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17 witnesses, 17 people that the prosecution brought to the stand, and they had cross-examination from the defense and everything like that. And then look how many witnesses that the defense had. One, and then these are two, because this is one Kyle just gets cross-examined. So 1, 2, 3. That's it. It's unbelievable. And a lot of these witnesses are just useless witnesses. This Gage guy, this Gage Grossman this Gage guy, the one that got shot in the arm, he actually testified that, and again, he's the prosecution's witness. He actually testified and said it wasn't until he took out his gun and pointed it at Kyle that's when he got shot by Kyle. So it's like, this is clear and cut, and they're trying to bring in all these other things into it that just don't make any sense. Like it doesn't. I just don't understand it. And the defense as well. It bothers me so much that the defense is just letting this prosecutor say whatever he wants without even throwing out an objection. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. And I've been hearing different things, like the guys here that are on Ricada, and there's some women as well. That, see if there's the people that are on here. Like, there you go. There's I think she's called like Daisy Law or something. I don't remember. But I think they all have like YouTube channels and stuff. I haven't really checked them out because, I mean, you really don't. Look at this, 10 hours of video. It's crazy. But they come on and they say, oh, like the judge will say something, and they say, oh man, I like this judge. This judge, he's old school, and I like this judge, and this and that. But then the judge will turn around and do something that makes absolutely no sense, and then they kind of hate on him. They kind of say, oh man, this judge, oh my goodness, this is ridiculous or whatever. So that's why I kind of like this. This one's good if you want to watch it, like the whole case, and follow along, minute by minute. But these right here, these Robert Gruller ones, these are very, very good if you just want to condense and you just want to focus on the main points of evidence so that you can kind of come up with a conclusion to yourself. What do you think? And this is a very good way of doing that. But yeah, following this case, following this trial, it's been not nerve-wracking, but it's been kind of in the back of my mind just thinking, what if they find him guilty? And I've had it in the back of my mind thinking about it, and I came to the realization, like, man, if they find this kid guilty of homicide, or I forgot what they're charging him with. I want to say it's homicide. If they find him guilty of that, I feel like I'm gonna just lose complete trust in our judicial system. Like, with all this evidence or lack of evidence, someone can literally just go up and say, a prosecutor can say, this person killed this person, and they did it for no good reason. And that could be completely false, but if they say it enough times, if they say it long enough, if they say it loud enough, and they just say it repeatedly over and over and over and over again, then what's the purpose? Even though if it's not true, like how are we allowing this to like to be considered like a prosecution, like a legit prosecution? Because the prosecution is supposed to be finding out the truth, like what actually happened. But now they're trying. Now that not that they're trying, they're actually like blurring the line, as in kind of like creating their own truth, so that they can get the verdict that they want. It's not about finding the truth, and that's what scares me so much about this. That people are allowing this prosecution to just do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants, and and we're supposed to be okay with it. It's ridiculous, and that's what bothers me. And I had a conversation with someone at work about this, and it kind of led up to we were talking about the trial. And I don't know why this person is very interested in like shootings, like police shootings and things like that. Like that's the type of things that he likes to talk about. And I don't know too much about him. I know like facts and details like here and there, but I don't really know too much in the sense of every single little aspect about it. I know like just the main points, you know. But even though this guy, like, that's what he's interested in, he really doesn't go into it as much as I would think he would, because that's like quote unquote his forte, you know, that's like his preference. But he really doesn't have that much insight. It's kind of weird. But anyway, that's besides the point. We were talking about this, and he actually came up to me and asked me about it, like, oh, hey, how's the trial going? What's going on? And this and that, like, kind of asking me for the play-by-play type of thing. And I filled them in, you know, like what I watched. Like, oh, I haven't been able to watch it today, but I saw this and I saw that, and it's just like, it's just a shit show, man. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, they're saying this and they're saying that. Like, I just find it completely ridiculous. But anyway, we were talking about it, and it led up to the idea that, like, oh, well, maybe Kyle shouldn't have been there. And then the maybe turned into like, yeah, he shouldn't have been there. And that bothered me. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, I mean, if you want to make that argument, it's like, well, the protesters shouldn't have been there either. The rioters shouldn't have been there either. People shouldn't have been burning down businesses and personal property and things like that. That shouldn't have been happening either. So what should we do? Should we do nothing? Like, should we allow people to just do whatever they want and then sort it out later? I don't like that. And that the kind of that was kind of an idea that I haven't really thought about too much, but it kind of just clicked in my head, and I started kind of pressing him on it. Like, so then, what do you think about that then? Like, what do you think? Do you think we should allow people to get away with things just because they're not hurting anybody? Like, should we allow people to destroy property? Should we allow people to break laws just so long as they're not hurting anybody? It's okay. You know what I mean? Like things like that. And I started thinking about it. It's like in schools and in youth centers and in daycares and all these things, we teach our kids, we teach these kids to, like, if you see something, say something, right? Like, kind of, you know, don't let something bad go unnoticed, right? Like speak up for injustices, speak up for things that are bothering you and things like that, right? Like we preach that and we teach that to kids, but yet it's when it's in this case, when it's like, okay, there's people rioting, there's people protesting, there's businesses being burned down. Okay, I'm gonna say something, but you know what? I'm gonna take a step further and I'm gonna go do something about it. I'm gonna take a fire extinguisher and I'm gonna put out the fires. I'm gonna keep people off of this property. I'm gonna try to protect this piece of property. I'm going to try to provide aid and help people who want the help. Why is that bad? Why is that considered like taboo? Why are we ostracizing someone for inherently trying to do something that's good? And that's what kind of resonated with me. That and then to top it off, the this person kind of said, well, at the end I really don't care because I'm not the one on trial. And that kind of just like set me off in the back of my mind, and then like my defense mechanism kind of clicked in, and I kind of just stopped listening and stopped putting too much effort into the conversation, because it's like, man, like you can have you have a strong feeling about this, you have a strong opinion about this, but then you just turn around and say like, I really don't care at the end of the day because this doesn't affect me. And the ignorance of that kind of bothered me because like it does affect you. It will affect you. It affects everybody. Like so then why do you go out and do anything? Like what if you go out to your grocery store and and it gets robbed, there's someone that tries to, they pull out a gun, they pull out a knife, they pull out some sort of weapon or whatever, and they try to rob the place. They try to rob it. And you go and you stop them from robbing it, and then it comes back at you and they say, "Oh, you shouldn't have stopped them. You should have just let them rob it." It's like, well, and then you can have that other argument. You shouldn't have been there. Why did you go to the grocery store? You bring up the prosecution will bring up that argument. Why did you go to the grocery store? Oh, well, I needed to buy milk and I needed to buy some cereal. So do you need milk and cereal to live? Did you have other food in your house that you could have eaten? So yeah, well, I couldn't. So then you didn't even need to be there. You know what I mean? Like it opens the door to have everybody question the things that you do. It's like I was doing the things that I did because I wanted to do them. I wanted to go to the supermarket. I wanted to go and put out fires. I wanted to go and do that. Is that wrong? I think that's the better question. Is that wrong for me to want to go out and do that? Is that wrong for me to go and put myself in a dangerous situation knowing full well I could be hurt, but I'm not there to hurt anybody. I'm there to try to alleviate the situation. I'm there to try to keep the situation at from escalating. I'm trying to keep it at bay. I'm trying to mitigate as much damage as possible. And and I'm in turn being punished because I went out to try to do something like didn't don't we give awards, like don't we give medals for people who do things that they're not supposed to do in the military? Like going above and beyond the call of duty? Like if there's a platoon of soldiers and maybe half of them or or like three-fourths the like yeah, half of them or 75% of them get mowed down or get locked up in a place that they can't get to. Instead of waiting for someone to come and help, a soldier goes in, runs into enemy fire, goes and helps, renders aid, and brings them back. He wasn't supposed to do that. He should have waited. He should have done this. He should have done that. You can argue it all along, but he didn't. He took it upon himself, or she took it upon them. They took it upon themselves. That person took it upon themselves to go and go above the call of duty. Their required training, whatever it is that their protocol, whatever it is that they're supposed to do, they went above that and said, you know what, I'm gonna do this myself because I don't want this thing to happen to them. I'm not doing this to hurt anybody. I'm not doing this to inflict damage or anything like that. I'm doing this because I want to go and help somebody. And we give medals for that. How come we're ostracizing this kid for being so compelled, being so moved by what was happening in his community to go out and do something? Why are we turning him into a criminal? It's insane. Like this kid, I think he has PTSD. Like maybe he didn't have it before, but I think like his future is like completely gone in the things that he wanted to do, because I remember them mentioning he wanted to be like a firefighter, he wanted to be an EMT, he wanted to be all these things, and those are very high stress jobs. I remember when I did some work for EMS, and we were sitting at the station, and I would kind of just be sitting there and trying to relax, and you cannot relax. So I asked one of the medics, and I said, "Hey, how do you deal with the stress? When does the stress go away?" And then he just flat out looks at me, and I asked him a good question. I could tell because his demeanor totally changed, and he told me it doesn't go away. It never goes away. It's always there. The stress is always there. And then he told me some little techniques that he does, and he says, um, a lot of people eat, a lot of people do all these different things to like cope with it, but one thing that they taught them at I'm kind of going off topic here, but one thing that they had taught him at a conference that he went to when he first became a medic, that they eat saltine crackers, and supposedly the salt in the saltine crackers, it has like melatonin, and that helps kind of calm your nerves down, and it's not as destructive as like smoking cigarettes or eating foods, comfort foods, and things like that. It's a little bit more, it's like a healthy alternative, but the stress is always there. So imagine you have this guy, Kyle Rittenhouse, wanting to become a medic with this PTSD that he has from this situation that he has, that has been I want to use a fancy word, but I don't even think it's the right word, that has been ex, uh, that has been exponentially worsened by the media, by the entire system, that he's not going to be able to handle the stresses that come with those high stress jobs. So it's like his future is ruined. Like, I mean, did would he be able to have a future like that if this was a clear cut case, if all the charges were dropped? I don't know, maybe, but I can guarantee that the news coverage and even the president, oh my God, President Biden came out and basically just slammed on this kid. And I guarantee you, with based off what he said, I don't know, man. The president, like I don't even think he's in his right mind. So I think he doesn't even know what the hell's going on. But he should have had the 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 intelligence, enough intelligence for how many brain cells are left in his head. He should have had enough intelligence to know to keep his mouth shut about something he doesn't know about. But I don't know, man. That's just it's just bad. It's just bad all around. So I mean I kind of wanted. We talked about this before when we were doing our episode 4, right? We were going to kind of stay on this topic for a little bit, because this is a pretty to me, it's a pretty high profile case. It's something that's going to affect not just one person. It's going to affect all of us. It just sucks that this kid is kind of caught in the middle, and it is what it is. But I just don't think I just this kind of just leads up to that idea that I kind of want to end on, that I don't like the idea of, it's like it doesn't affect me, so I don't really care. And that statement itself alone is bothersome, but the fact that it's not true. It's like everything affects us. Everything that someone does, everything that someone says in one way or another affects us. We are giving like positive we are giving positive reinforcement when we don't say anything. Or wait, would that be negative reinforcement? No, it'd be positive reinforcement, because we don't say anything and we're giving them the satisfaction knowing like, hey, I'm doing something right. Look at all the attention look at the, well, no, it'd be negative reinforcement, because you're not giving them their attention. You're not giving them attention, so you're making them think that they're doing something good. Versus you go and you tell them something, and you tell them something negative. You say, hey, what you're doing is not right, and you shouldn't be doing it. And because of what you did, I'm going to go and fix that. I'm going to go and fix that problem. And you shouldn't be doing that again. Someone needs to stop you from doing what you're doing, and you need to stop. And when we stop doing that, you give them that idea like, hey, what I'm doing is correct because no one is stopping me, so I'm just going to keep on doing it. No repercussions, nothing like that. And I feel like this is what this trial is revolving around, the idea of just allowing people to just go just tear through a community and destroy people's lives, destroy people's property without any sort of repercussions or anything like that. Yeah, but that's it, guys. What do you guys think about that? It's been, that's something that was kind of bothering me all week. It feels a little bit better to kind of talk about it. But this trial is still going on. This is going to go on for a while. If the jury comes back, because I think next week on Monday, they're going to have they're going to give their jury instructions, and they're going to allow them to convene and start talking about how they're going to basically go with providing a verdict and everything like that. So this thing could possibly end next week. So even if it ends or if it doesn't end, we're still going to be able to. I'm probably still going to want to talk about this next week. And if my buddy, the Slanted Scholar, jumps on next week, maybe we'll kind of talk about something else to kind of break the cycle a little bit. But I'm still going to want to touch up on this trial, and kind of talk about it a little bit, see what's going on, if anything has changed, and things like that, and just kind of have some updated info on that. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for today. Thanks for joining us, or thanks for joining me today. I'm flying solo today, but usually it's a it's a tag team type of deal. But that's okay. Things happen, and we can't control every single little aspect of our lives, and it is what it is. Work happens, and it's all good though. That's why we have it set up the way that we do. So again, guys, this is Slamfire Media. Check us out on slamfiremedia.com. We're gonna have videos posted up on YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble. You don't have to find us on BitChute or Rumble or YouTube. If you just go to slamfiremedia.com, we have all our episodes posted right here on slamfiremedia.com. So, and then you can choose wherever you want to watch our videos on and everything like that. So don't feel compelled, like, oh, I got to go searching for this. Like, no, just slamfiremedia.com and we got you covered. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. This has been Slamfire. Take it easy.